when we were together in Western Scotland and when we were in Northern Scotland, because it's so much more remote, I didn't see this. People are coming up to you all the time, stopping you. I mean, we don't pay for, you're getting a coffee, or people are buying you breakfast, dog food.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Do you know, mate, with all that's going on in the UK at the moment, right? There is so much positive stuff, and I get to see that firsthand. I can honestly say there's probably 3 people that I've met on this entire walk so far that I really haven't had much time for. The rest have just all been amazing.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, and they want to help. She didn't come there because she wanted a photo or a selfie or anything like that. She genuinely wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And mate, that's my. I never want to take payment for doing anything like this. That's not what I'm here for. But that is my payment from a point of view that I get people come up to me and be lovely. I don't need anything else, mate. That's just lush. That is. I go to bed every single night knowing that the next place I go to, people are going to be nice to me. And when I say nice, I don't mean just come up and donate, but I just come and talk and chat and ask some questions about me and Jet. And
it's support.
Yeah, it's support.
They're showing their support for you.
And that is the stuff that I hid myself away from before I started this. And instinctively, I didn't realise what I'd done, mate. I doing this thrust myself into a position where I had to speak to people, where I had to ask for help, where I was going to be around people rather than shut myself away. And boy, it's worked. It really has worked.
Well, your following is growing daily. Facebook following is going through the roof. And you're still in Orkney, and then you're going to Shetland Islands.
I've got the winter in Shetland,
Yeah, the winter in Shetland, that's going to be more. But then it's really snowboarding. The following is snowboarding. You're now going to go down to populated areas, down the east coast of Scotland, the east coast of England and the south coast. By the time you reach the south coast, what we're seeing here, or what you're seeing here, people coming up to you, that's going to be magnified so much.
I know, I'm preparing myself for it. It's not something I'm used to, it's really not. But it's like I said to you, mate, bring it on.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this now. I never thought it was going to go like this. I didn't have a clue. I would have just been happy if I'd have come out the other side of this, having raised a good bit of money for SSAFA, and maybe.
You're going to raise a bit more than a good bit.
Yeah,
right?
I think that is going to head that way now. It hasn't happened yet, but I think it will. In fact, it will. I won't stop until it does, will I?
No, I know
Determined little bugger.
No, you are. That you are. You should have a T-shirt. That should be your T-shirt. Determined little bugger.
I know, wait, mate. I'm borrowing one from the place we went to yesterday. Did you know they do shorts, hats, and tops with the name Twat on it?
Yeah.
We should get that was the name of the place we went to yesterday.
Good place. Your success of this and your following is because you connect with so many people along the way.
I really make an effort, mate, to
because it's not just social media. You're doing it physically when you meet people in the street.
If I'm in a built-up, say for example today now, I'm in Stromness. If I was to walk down to say the campsite here, I would guarantee you it would take me a good while to get down there because people just want to stop, talk, come say hello, have a picture and all that sort of stuff. That's surreal, compared to what it was like for me 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, but it's not just the people on the street, it's the press.
Yeah.
You're getting newspapers, BBC, magazines.
I don't understand it myself, but
how do you cope with all that?
Because, mate, I've had this philosophy from the day that I've had this philosophy in my entire life. It's just one day at a time, pal. And if I have a busy day and I feel like because doing something like this, you get asked a lot of the same questions, which is totally understandable because I'd be exactly the same. But I have a perfect balance because I can then say, right, I'm going to go walking tomorrow in the middle of nowhere. I have some time to myself, regenerate, and then I can do it all again afterwards. So I can give myself the perfect balance. If that makes sense.
Well, the thing is, there are stresses that come with this walk, but then you get to sit here on the edge of a port on a beautiful day like this in Orkney.
Do you know, mate, no matter how bad the weather is, no matter how hard the walk is, no matter how many hundreds of people I've spoken to or anything like this, there has not been one single day that I've woken up and not had to say, this is where I am, look at this. I appreciate that every day, mate.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I always say this every time I speak to somebody, I'm more excited about this now than I was when I first started, because I'm starting to get an idea of what to expect, and I now know my limits. I've learned a lot, I'm much more confident talking to people now. That sort of like anxiety that I had before is gone. Not gone, but I've learned to deal with it. So yeah, it's incredible, mate. It's incredible.
One thing with the Orkney Islands, as opposed to where you have been on the tough terrain of Western Scotland, it's quite flat. The Orkney, is it made it quite easy to walk around?
Well, obviously, like from a walking point of view, it's been a refreshing change, because Orkney is very flat. I mean, it is hilly in the middle of it, if that makes sense. But as to actually walk around the coast, but that brings all different challenges. Then where you've got flat land and it's rich land, and you've got a lot of farmland. That poses problems because I have to try and work my way through that farmland, and especially when cows have been calving. Probably a couple of months ago. They don't like dogs, they get very protective over their calves, which is understandable. So yeah, we spent a lot of time running through fields getting chased by cows. Not the first time.
Oh dear. Oh dear. When we're going through. Are you alright there, bud? Steady on.
I just choked on my own coffee.
Yeah.
I love
the biggest challenge of the Orkney are cows and coffee.
Yeah. The isolation, mate, it starts to make you laugh at your own jokes, even when they're not funny.
Yeah, I do that myself.
I didn't want to say.
That's all we do. Yeah, so just walking through Stromness, we got stopped by loads of people. One of the guys that came up and stopped you, he saw. Start again. So, just walking through Stromness, you get stopped by loads of people, and one of the people that stopped you was a gentleman who was ex-serviceman.
Yeah.
He saw your shirt that you were supporting SSAFA, and straight away there was a connection, and straight away he wanted to tell you his story as well.
Yeah, and that's lovely, that is, mate. A lot of these boys, and I totally understand this, a lot of these boys don't really get to talk to a lot of people when they come out of the forces. They really don't. They get very isolated. They isolate themselves, and they think there's no one else they can connect or talk to about it. But when the second that somebody else has been in or something like this, I think it's very easy to you've been in as well. Somebody else, and you share that sort of banter and charisma, and it's very easy to open up in front of someone else that you can relate to, isn't it?
But I saw the power of what you're doing when you bumped into that guy in the street. He came up to you, ex-serviceman, and he looked sad and down when he first came up.
He actually did, yeah.
But by the time he finished talking to you, he had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
He looked cheery. That must give you a good feeling.
There's no better feeling, is there? There's no better feeling. If you can make a positive impact on somebody's life, Tim.
And you are.
Well.
On so many.
And that's being reciprocated.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So.
Did you feel that you needed that? Because you're ex-serviceman yourself, you're in the paratroop regiment. When you first left the forces, how did that make you feel?
Well, for me it was slightly different because I come out pretty much to being a single parent. So I was immediately quite busy, if that made sense.
Right.
So I had something to focus on in that respect. Although that was really difficult because I was going to schools where everybody was talking nicely and stuff, whereas in the past I'd been quite wretched, and the boys just have this sort of banter that you wouldn't take into civvy life with you, I suppose, in many respects. So there's a huge adjustment that has to be made, and I think that's why a lot of people do struggle and end up isolating themselves. Yeah, I know. That's why they do.
Yeah. So you're ex-parachute regiment. How long were you in the paras for?
I went in 1996 and come out 2004.
Okay.
2004, but I was on tour in Northern Ireland when I came out. I'd actually had a compassionate posting because my ex-wife hadn't been very well after giving birth to my daughter. So I was out there. So I was out of the paras, but I was over on compassionate away from the paras for 2 years. I was serving with the Scottish regiment, funny enough.
Okay. Where were you posted with the parachute regiment?
I don't want to go into that.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No, because it just opens a world of questions, mate.
Okay.
I'll say one thing then, mate, is in comparison to all these boys that do it a serious amount of time, I did nothing, I did my bit, but I did nothing in comparison. These guys were going back doing repeated tours afterwards, and you know, I, in a kind of way, I maybe felt a little bit guilty that I didn't do that amount with the boys that I joined up with, if that makes sense. And it was also one of the reasons that I wanted to do it for SSAFA, not just because they helped me, but it just gives something back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy for me to make that decision. I threw us right off there, didn't I?
No, it's good.
Yeah, there's certain things, mate, my book, everything that I'm just not going to get into. It's not anybody else's business, you know.
Yeah.
Private, that is.
That's okay. And you know what? Everyone respects that.
Yeah, I know that.
Everyone respects
Yeah,
that.
totally.
They see what you're doing now, and
Yeah, it's about this. You know what I mean?
exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people get confused about. And I think that a lot of people have troubles. And
Sorry to interrupt.
Hi.
Can I give you cash? Is it alright, or does it have to be online donation?
Of course I take.
Thank you very much indeed.
I don't know what to say. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
What's your name?
Oh, Vanda.
Vanda.
Vanda,
Pleased to
lovely
meet
to
you
meet you.
anyway.
Vanda, let me just. Vanda, we thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, I've just put her in there for a minute. Yeah, she likes the comforts. So,
Quite right.
yeah, I don't
Oh,
blame her.
except for some of
She's
us.
my girl.
How's she doing?
She's amazing.